Shadowman. Late one night, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, there was a boy named Ethan who lived alone with his mother. Ethan was an imaginative child, often lost in his world of stories and drawings. But lately his imagination had taken a darker turn. For weeks, Ethan had been seeing a figure that he called the Shadowman. It started as a fleeting shape at the edge of his vision, a trick of the light, his mother insisted. But Ethan knew better. The Shadowman was real, and he was getting closer. At first, the figure lurked in the corners of his room, a tall, dark silhouette that vanished as soon as Ethan tried to focus on it. But over time, the Shadowman became bolder, staying longer, his eyes glowing like embers in the night. Ethan's mother dismissed his stories as nightmares. "It's just your imagination," she would say, tucking him into bed and brushing the hair from his forehead. But when she turned off the lights, Ethan could feel the Shadowman's presence, watching him, waiting. One night, Ethan woke up to the sound of whispering. It was a low, raspy voice coming from the dark corner of his room. His heart pounded as he slowly turned his head. There, standing at the foot of his bed, was the Shadowman, his body towering over Ethan's small frame. The figure was more distinct now, his form darker than the night itself, with long, spindly fingers that seemed to stretch out toward Ethan. But what terrified Ethan the most were the eyes' two pinpricks of red light that bore into his soul. "Ethan," the Shadowman whispered, his voice like the rustling of dead leaves. "Come with me." Ethan froze, his body paralyzed with fear. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. The Shadowman reached out, his hand hovering just above Ethan's face. The boy could feel the cold radiating from the figure, a chill that seeped into his bones. Suddenly, the door to his room burst open, and his mother rushed in, flicking on the light. The Shadowman vanished instantly, leaving only the cold, empty space where he had stood. But the feeling of dread lingered, and Ethan knew that the Shadowman would return. Over the next few days, Ethan's mother noticed that something was wrong. Her cheerful, imaginative son had become withdrawn, haunted by dark circles under his eyes and a constant look of fear. Desperate, she took him to doctors and therapists, but nothing helped. The Shadowman continued to torment Ethan, each night becoming more real, more present. One evening, Ethan's mother decided to stay with him through the night. She sat in a chair by his bed, holding his hand as he drifted off to sleep. But as the hours passed, exhaustion overcame her, and she too fell asleep. Around midnight, the room grew unbearably cold. Ethan woke to find the Shadowman standing at the foot of his bed once more. But this time, the figure was not alone. Behind him, shadows swirled and writhed, taking on forms of other dark figures, all with glowing red eyes. "Ethan," the Shadowman rasped, "you cannot hide." As the figures began to close in, Ethan's mother stirred, waking to the sight of her son surrounded by darkness. She screamed, leaping to her feet, but the shadows were too fast. They surged forward, engulfing the room in pitch-black darkness. The last thing Ethan saw was the Shadowman's hand reaching out for him, those burning red eyes filling his vision. When the neighbors found Ethan's mother the next morning, she was alone, huddled in the corner of her son's room, rocking back and forth, muttering about shadows and red eyes. Ethan was never seen again, his bed cold and empty. The story of Ethan and the Shadowman became a local legend, a tale to frighten children who wouldn't sleep. But some say the Shadowman still roams the neighborhood, searching for those who dare to look into the darkness, waiting to claim his next victim.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more tales from the dark. Until next time, stay safe and beware of the shadows.